Hello guys, so welcome back. So this will be the final video of my complete collection, which funny enough, so it's been a little bit since my last video, a little bit of a gap in time, but my collection's actually changed a lot since the first part of the first few parts of this collection video series, whatever you want to call it. I made some changes to kind of how I want my collection to be, and I'm not going to get into it a lot right now because that's for another video for another day. But luckily, what I'm going to show you today is not really going to be affected by that. Today we're going to go through my Criterions, my Arrow videos, which is not a lot, and my Scream and Shout Factory. And then if this hasn't run too long by then, maybe I'll quickly go over my very few television Blu-rays I have as well. I don't have a lot of those. So anyway, I'm going to start this off by jumping into my Criterions. Okay, so starting here, I don't have a ton of Criterions. I have like 30 or 40 or something like that. I'm a little more selective on my Criterions than some other man, I can't talk today. I'm a little more selective on my Criterions and things such as like Show Factory, which I'll buy almost anything I can find. Criterion, their catalog is not necessarily as completely appealing to me as others. There are some great films I love, a lot I want to get still, but there's a lot of movies in the Criterion collection I'm sure are great films, but aren't necessarily in my wheelhouse. But what I have here definitely is, and the first one is 12 Angry Men, which is maybe my favorite Criterion I have. I've talked about this before in previous videos, but it's one of the best written films, and it's a great film. I mean, it's based on a play, so it kind of works that way for a reason, but it's something you can just listen to. It's a great movie to have on in the background if you're doing something else or you can't necessarily pay attention to the screen. You can listen to it, and it's almost as effective. The 39 Steps, which is an early Hitchcock film. One I have not watched yet, Badlands. I hope to one day, even though I think I've had it for like 2 years. Being John Malkovich, another film I like quite a bit. Haven't watched in a long time, but probably my second favorite John Travolta performance. Second to Pulp Fiction. It's a great film. Great Brian De Palma film. And John Travolta's fantastic in it. First of many Wes Anderson films on Criterion. All of his films except, well, now 2 with Isle of Dogs. But also the name is slipping. Grand Budapest Hotel is not on Criterion yet. So waiting for that one day. But for now, whoops. Bottle Rocket, great film. Not one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies, but I mean I love all of his films. But yeah, I'll get into those more. Boyhood. Yeah, man, I gotta pause this. Okay, sorry guys, I was just like tripping all over my words there for a minute. So hopefully I'll be better going forward now. I just was all over the place there for a second. But anyway, Boyhood. This is a film that I also really like Richard Linklater, and I like this movie a lot, but I appreciate it I think more than I like it. Just what was put into making it is really unique, and whether you like it or not, I mean it's hard to deny that it really was a very, very cool accomplishment, and the fact that they were able to get it done and it exists is a pretty big feat in my opinion. But it is a good movie nonetheless. But I was happy Criterion put that out, because that's another, Richard Linklater is another director that Criterion seems to really like treating his stuff great. I'd like to see School of Rock. I think that'd be interesting if the Criterion got School of Rock. The Breakfast Club, I was really happy to see this get a Criterion release. Was a little surprised. I'm not sure why I was surprised, but I was. Every Criterion collector's favorite Criterion release, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Though I do actually love this movie a lot. It's my second favorite Fincher film, behind Zodiac. I don't get what they were thinking with this packaging. Luckily, I was able to use a PS3 game case, and as you can see, even though it's blurry, as you can see, it as you can't see because it's blurry, but it works. The spine this is focusing on everything but this. The spine fits in a thicker case, even though it came in a standard size Blu-ray case. Still works when you put it in a thicker case, but the top is still not. It's as if you're an OCD collector like me, this probably bothers you just as much as it bothers me, but I don't get that. But anyway, it is a great film. I know it's not loved by everybody, but I like it a lot. The next Wes Anderson film in my collection, Darjeeling Limited. One of my favorites. Probably I'd say top 3, top 4. And another Linklater film, Dazed and Confused. My favorite of his. And then another Wes Anderson. A lot of Wes Anderson, a lot of Richard Linklater in here. Fantastic Mr. Fox. I do wish these came in standard cases. I just would like the consistency. I probably sound really picky, but that's just because I am. But I still like having those in the collection. 5 Easy Pieces, great Jack Nicholson performance in there. The only Christopher Nolan film on Criterion, surprisingly, that's following. I think Memento. I'm surprised Memento hasn't found its way on Criterion yet, but I'm sure there's legal reasons. More David Fincher, The Game. The Great Dictator, my favorite Charlie Chaplin film. This is really fun. Harold and Maude. It's a really fun film. Inside Llewyn Davis. Was really happy this got a Criterion release. Not enough Coen brothers on Criterion. That's a great... This is the movie that, even though I had watched Drive several times before, this is the movie that introduced me really to Oscar Isaac. And I love Oscar Isaac. He's one of my favorite actors working today. I enjoy him in anything, and that's the film that really kind of introduced me to him. Last Temptation of Christ. I wish there was more Scorsese on Criterion. This is actually like probably my least favorite. It's just not for me. And it's not the religious aspect, it's just the film itself. I just find it's kind of I appreciate it because I know what Scorsese went through to make it, but it's kind of a slog. I have a hard time getting through it. My second favorite Wes Anderson film, Life Aquatic. I adore this so much. More Hitchcock, The Man Who Knew Too Much. The original, not the remake with James Stewart. Meantime, really funny English film with Tim Roth on the cover there. Moonrise Kingdom, another of these cardboard cases. But again, more Wes Anderson. Can't get enough Wes Anderson. My Own Private Idaho. Have not watched this before, but I picked this up for a good price. I do like Gus Van Sant, so I would like to watch that one day. Night to Remember. I actually bought this on Amazon while watching Titanic on the 100th anniversary of the sinking. So, pointless fact there for you. Punch Drunk Love. I wish there was more P.T. Anderson on Criterion as well, but that's a great addition. Rosemary's Baby. Now this is my favorite Wes Anderson film. I love the Royal Tenenbaums. I could watch it every day for the rest of my life. Rushmore I also like quite a bit. I'm not going to rank his films, but this would be pretty high. The Samurai. I don't have a lot of French films in my collection, but I do have that one. That one's really good. The only Korean film on Criterion, which is a phenomenal film, but I do really love Korean cinema, and it's a shame they don't get more Criterion releases. And then the last few here, Seven Samurai. I mean, you've all seen what that looks like. That's a pretty common one. Noah Baumbach's Squid and the Whale. This is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. if you like dry humor, which I love dry humor, Jeff Daniels is incredible. Straw Dogs, haven't watched this in a very long time, but it is a very good film. Thief, I've never watched, but look forward to one day. And the last of my Criterions, The Thin Red Line. Okay, and now, not a lot here, but I got a few Arrow releases here to go through. This is not Arrow, this is from the, what are they called? Vestron Video Collection from Lionsgate. These are a great, this is the only one I have, but they're a great little line of films. I keep this up, I don't know why I keep this here, but anyway. I have a few of the Arrow collector sets. These are really nice, and I like them because they do include the standard cases inside the box. They're not like in a digibook or a flip thing or anything like that, but so I have The Apartment, Donnie Darko. This is not in standard cases, but so I lied a bit, but those are in like cardboard things. The Hills Have Eyes, which I watched for the first time when I received this, and I really liked it. And The House 1 and 2. The House 2 is, I like the first one, but House 2 I love so much. It's one of my favorite horror comedy. Actually, shouldn't even call it a horror comedy. House 2 is very little horror to it, but it works as a horror movie if you want to group it in there. Probably my favorite Arrow, The Burbs. I love this steelbook. Apparently this has gotten kind of rare and pricey to buy now. I think I bought it when it was I pre-ordered it and got it when it was released, I believe. A recent pickup, Reanimator, which I've never seen before, so I look forward to finally watching that. Big Trouble in Little China. Blood Rage, a fun old, really cheesy slasher film, but a lot of fun. Chud, I love Chud. Rest in peace, John Hurd. He's great in this. I've never seen the second one, but I do love the first one. Cinema Paradiso. If you appreciate film as an art and just love film, which I'm guessing if you're watching a YouTube video of somebody pulling out their Blu-rays and talking about them, you probably do love cinema. So this is a love letter to film. Same with, you know, like Hugo and those type of films, and it had me in tears at the end. Like, I don't cry tears a lot movies. There's a few that have brought me to tears. This is one of them. And so is this, ironically, Departures. My favorite Japanese film, the only foreign language Oscar winner that I actually had heard of and liked and was rooting for and happy won. Again, that another beautiful film that just brought me to tears. And Dillinger, Django, which is not Franco Nero. It is Terence Hill playing Django in that one. I always think of Franco Nero as Django, but he's, I believe, was only in 2 of them. The first one and the latest, or the last one. And then, of course, his little cameo in Django Unchained. The rest, or the last 2 House films, House 3 and House 4. House 3, this is not, they did not do the full box set in North America like they did in the UK, so I had to import 3 and 4 separately. I think the reason is because House 3 is not called House 3 in North America. It is just called The Horror Show. House 3 was just thrown on this. It was never meant to be part of the House series. They just kind of threw that title on, but yeah, over here it's called The Horror Show, so I'm guessing that's why they didn't do a full box set in the North American Arrow line, but these are easy enough to just get off Amazon for really cheap. But House 4 is, so House 3 haven't watched that yet, but House 4 was not very good. Actually, after I ordered this, I watched it on YouTube, it's bad. I mean, it's watchable and had its couple moments, but it felt like watching a extended episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which I don't know if you have heard of that, but it's definitely a thing. So anyway, that is my Arrow films. Of course, what I meant to say is those are my Arrow films. Just like these are my Shout Factory. Now, Shout Factory is definitely my favorite, or Shout Factory, whatever, like publisher, film studio, whatever you want to call them. I love Shout Factory. They are a line of films that I will pretty much pick up anything and give it a shot because I'll assume I'll like it. And that includes the Shout Factory and Scream Factory releases. And I mean, Scream Factory's been hit or miss for me. There's a couple I didn't love, but nothing I've absolutely hated. So anyway, I'll get through these. I won't linger too long. This, of course, is the Halloween 15-disc box set. There's all the individual Halloweens up there. Now, I only really like Halloween 1, 2, and 3 and H2O. And I kind of like the first zombie Halloween. But luckily, with this year's new Halloween coming out, none of those matter. Only these two. Because, you know, this is set in our world, not the Halloween world. So Halloween 3 is still a thing. But, I'm sure you all know this already, but Halloween, the new Halloween, is retconning all that away and taking place right after the first one. So I'm very excited because honestly, I did like H2O. I think 1, 2, and H2O up until now worked well as a trilogy. I hate Resurrection, like hate. Don't just not like, there's nothing, not like, oh, you know, it's not very good but watchable. No, it is trash. I can't stand it. Halloween 2 I wasn't a big fan of. These aren't part of continuity anyway, but... And then 4 and 5 and 6, those are more along the lines of, like... I didn't hate them. I just didn't like the direction that franchise went in. So, for me, you know, up until now, Halloween 1, 2, and H2O was like the Halloween trilogy. And then Halloween 3 just stands on its own. So I'm excited to see where the franchise is going this year. And I am still happy to have this whole box set because I like all the individual cases and all that stuff. So that is that. Next we have the Shout Factory Steelbooks. Now I believe these are at least most of what have come out. I don't know if there's any that I'm missing. If you know of any that I don't have, please tell me so I can find them. There are 3 more coming. Army of Darkness, The Howling, and I can't remember the third, but the 3 more coming I have pre-ordered. But so far, so these are the 3 Shout Factory steelbooks I have. Buckaroo Banzai. Oh my god. But yeah, Buckaroo Banzai. I thought I said that wrong, but it's not. Now, I will mention I'm not opening any of these steelbooks. Which means I probably sound like a lunatic. I do still have to rebuy these 2. Actually, Fargo as well. I don't think I own Fargo on a regular Blu-ray anymore, do I? Do I? Yes, I do. Never mind. So I don't actually ever want to open these. I'm just leaving them all sealed. Mainly because I just like them sealed. I like the sticker on them. I'm just weird that way. So I've never actually seen Buckaroo Banzai, and I've never seen Bill and Ted, believe it or not. So I'm gonna have to try to find the standard releases of those so I can watch them. And there's Fargo, of course, and then the John Carpenter. They're all John Carpenter films they've been doing on Steelbook up until a couple months from now. But Assault on Precinct 13, Escape from New York, The Fog. These are very... I apologize. These, you can almost not see these, can you? They're very... The shrink wrap's making them very shiny. Prince of Darkness, and the last one, They Live. So yeah, I think those are all the steelbooks. I've looked, I've searched steelbooks, Shout Factory Steel. I've searched online and I couldn't find anything that is not here already. So if there are any out there, like I said, please tell me so I can track them down. So then getting into so these I do separate by slip covers and non-slip covers. So first one I have is the Babadook and Army of Darkness, Carrie, and it's just the artwork. God, even if I don't like the movie, I'm in it for the artwork at least, because the artwork on these Scream Factories are phenomenal. Child's Play, Cyborg, which I don't know why this is under Scream Factory, not Shout Factory, but it's not really a horror film. That's okay. Dark Man, which I've never actually seen. Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead. Death Becomes Her, which unfortunately didn't get a nice fancy artistic cover, but that's a great cover anyway. My arm is like falling asleep. Okay. Drag Me to Hell. Love that. I was so happy. This is one of my favorite horror movies in recent years, and I was so happy to see this get a Scream Factory release. I would love to see Cabin in the Woods get one, because that is another one of my favorite horror films, and It Follows would be great. Evil Dead Remake would be good. There's so many great recent horror films that would look great on Scream Factory. First one I ever bought, Escape from New York. Nope, sorry, second best. Or second... Oh my god, second I ever bought. The first I didn't realize I had, which I'll get to later, but I bought this. This is what kind of introduced me to the Scream Factory label. Kind of, I took notice of it, and then it turns out I already had one when I bought that. Halloween 2, really glad I bought that and have the slipcover for it. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Land of the Dead, Mad Max, Manhunter, a great, I mean, Silence of the Lambs, that trilogy is great, but I really love this as a Hannibal Lecter film, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it. Misery, one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations. There's Prince of Darkness again. This is the one I actually really liked. It gets a lot of hate. Maybe my favorite Scream. I was ecstatic when they released this. I love there's my cat meowing. See? That's Jersey Girl. That's her name. I don't know what she wants. Anyway, Return of the Living Dead. What was I saying? Yeah, I was so happy when this got a release. Oh man. This is one of my favorite horror comedies. Maybe my favorite horror comedy, and I'm really happy the second one's getting a release later in the year. RoboCop 2 and 3. Happy to have those with the slips. Serpent in the Rainbow, I've never watched. Shocker, I've never watched. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. This is batshit insane. But I love it. I really do. Another great Scream Factory release, The Thing. I know everyone was very excited when that was announced. Village of the Damned. I just love how much John Carpenter is on Scream Factory. Alright, now these are the ones I have no slipcovers for. This is running kind of long, so I'm going to zip through these. But The Ambulance, which, again, probably didn't need to be Scream, could have been Shout, but that's okay. Assault on Precinct 13, same thing. Not sure why that was Scream, but it's okay. Blackula 2-pack there. This one of the Candyman films. I don't even know which one this is. I don't even know why I have. Well, I know why I have it because it's Scream Factory, but I really have no interest in watching that. Day of the Dead. One of the ones I really wish I did have a slipcover for. Death Valley. This was a great movie. Total blind buy, even though it came kind of damaged, but that was awesome. Evil Speak. Clint Howard in that one. Another one I wish I had the slip for. All the Carpenter ones I wish I did, but The Fog. I know this is not a John Carpenter film. I know that, but these two are, and I don't have slips for them. Howling, really fun werewolf film. I never actually got through this. I tried watching it once and it kind of lost me, but Invaders from Mars, Leviathan. Now this is technically the first Scream Factory I ever bought. I just didn't realize it was Scream Factory. I just bought it because I knew I didn't have a lot of Werner Herzog films, so I got it to watch, and never did. Millennium and Rotor, 2-pack. Psycho remake. Session 9, a fantastic thriller, I'd call it, not so much horror. Swamp Thing. Another Carpenter film I wish I had a slipcover for, They Live. The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Again, doesn't really need to be Scream Factory, but hey, I'm gonna keep saying that anyway. Troll and Troll 2. I'm not a huge fan of these like 2-packs, but I still pick them up when I come across them. And then the last one, whoa, there, Witchboard. I watched it a lot as a kid, I think, but haven't watched it yet. Now, the last few here, these are my Shout Select films. Obviously not those. Nah, don't have a lot of them, but, and actually this one's not Shout Select, but it feels like it should be, that's why it's there. So, The Ticket. Hello! There she is again. What are you wanting? Say hello. That's her way of saying hello. She probably wants food. I should go feed her when I'm done this. Though I'm pretty sure there's tons of food. You know how cats are. If they can see the bottom of the bowl, then they're starving. The Ticket. The Burbs. Now this should have gotten a Scream Factory release, but it's okay because I love this film and I love this release. I just love it. Matinee and Mr. Mom. This was a lot of fun. I watched that recently for the first time in a very long time. So like I said, this is not a Shout Select or anything like that. It's just a regular Shout Factory release, but the treatment of it makes it feel like it should kind of belong with them. It's got the slip and everything. So, and then another John Carpenter film, Elvis. Even if you're not an Elvis fan, this is an amazing movie. It's really long. There's a kind of a made-for-TV thing, but man, Kurt Russell is the best Elvis I've ever seen on screen, hands down. Midnight Run, really love that movie. And then finally, the last three here, these are just the Shout release Ghibli films I have. I'm not a big anime watcher. I'm also not like a Studio Ghibli aficionado, but those are three movies that I have watched many times and really enjoy, so I just kind of picked those up for that reason. I don't plan on collecting all of them, so. Alright, so that was all my Shout Factory stuff. So I'll take a couple minutes here and just zip through a couple things. There's a few soundtracks. These aren't all I have. I had this empty shelf here, so I thought I'd temporarily just put a few of the soundtracks. Some of my favorites that I have. I'll go into them. You can kind of see what they are. If I stop shaking around, you can see what they are. Also, now these couple shelves are my HD DVDs, which again I'll just kind of pan across so you can see them. I've been kind of in a big kick lately. Oh my goodness, hi. Oh my goodness. I know, it's a tragedy. You're starving, aren't you? Because you haven't eaten in 10 minutes. So, what was I saying? Yeah. I've been kind of on an HD DVD kick lately. Just if I can find them like dirt cheap, I'll pick them up. And I've kind of been building up a little bit of a collection here. And watch it. I watched Clerks 2 actually, just before starting this video. And I watched The Frighteners yesterday. So yeah, I got a nice player recently. Again, really cheap. So I've been enjoying kind of collecting and revisiting HD DVDs. It's kind of fun. So anyway, that's what I got. I'm not gonna go through them title by title. And then lastly, I know these are my TV shows on Blu-ray, and TV specials like Charlie Brown and Frosty and stuff, but not a big TV collector, so I don't have a lot. Just a few of my favorite shows. Actually, a lot of my favorite shows I don't even have, but on Blu-ray. But like the, oh my goodness, what did I do there? See, those are all wrong now. So yeah, I gotta fix that order. I somehow got the Office all mixed up, but yeah. So anyway, that's what I got. Not many. Like I said, I don't collect a lot of TV shows. I have a bunch on DVD that I just don't revisit television shows that often, so I don't see a lot of reason to own them. But okay, so guys, that after all this time is my full Blu-ray collection. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all the kind words and all the comments and likes and everything. And now I can kind of get on to doing some other videos other than collection videos. For now, till I've decided it's time to go over these again. Which, like I said, they've changed a lot. I've gotten rid of a lot and acquired a lot and did some changes and switches and swaps and trades, and it's been all over the place. So anyway, I'm gonna just show you this poor cat who's just dying for me to pet her and feed her and love her. So anyway, you want to say goodbye? Want to say goodbye? Say thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video, won't we? Oh, nuzzle the camera.